Welcome to the PodcAls on this lovely Tuesday. I'm Joey Alfieri with you every week in English and in French, breaking down all things Montreal Alouettes. The regular season is getting closer and closer. Training camp, at the time of this recording, is just over a month away. May the 12th, you can go to Saint-Jérôme and you can watch the defending Grey Cup champions practice live fire on the field with pads, with helmets, with players, with coaches. I cannot wait. Football season finally here, just around the corner. And really looking forward to seeing the Alouettes in their quest to repeat for back-to-back Grey Cup titles. It's going to be awesome. Again, I'm Joey Alfieri. You can find me on social media at Joey Alfieri, on Twitter at Joey_Alfieri, on Instagram if you want to share your Alouettes photos with me, or if you have an Alouettes question. A lot of fans write to me. My DMs are open. You can write, and I love talking football, love talking CFL football with anybody out there who's willing to discuss with me. So feel free to find me on social media, and make sure you're following the Alouettes everywhere. Some great content everywhere, including TikTok, where there's going to be a lot of content coming in the days leading up to training camp and in training camp. So we've got a lot to get to over the next 7 months, I guess it is, with the regular season. Just a few weeks away. But do want to mention we've got a busy show here. We're going to be talking to one of the coolest cats in the Montreal Alouettes locker room. He's a guy who's a football player, Grey Cup champ. He's a chef during the offseason. He's a guy who's done some acting. He's a guy who wants to be a firefighter. Defensive end Avery Ellis will be joining us in just a couple minutes. We have a lot that we can get to with him. And it should be an interesting next few minutes with Avery Ellis. Before we get to the interview with Avery Ellis, I just want to mention, we mentioned the tickets and the 3-game packs and the 5-game packs and the Flex 10 season tickets. Make sure you pick up those, goalsgo.com. Make sure you're there for the opening night banner raising ceremony with the 8th championship in franchise history. That banner is going to be hoisted it's going to last forever. It's going to last forever, and it's going to be up there on June the 20th when the Alouettes take on the Ottawa Red Blacks, who they beat 4 times last year, by the way. 5 if you count the preseason, I think. Yeah, I think 5 times. But yes, you definitely want to be there for that game. You're going to want to be there when Saskatchewan comes to town, when Trevor Harris returns to Montreal, when Gino Lewis returns to Montreal, and when that Edmonton game is the end of August. William Stanback's going to come back with the BC Lions. So there's a lot of games that you're definitely going to want to get to. But yeah, make sure you pick up your ticket packs. But I also want to give love to the team store. I crossed people from the team store earlier today, and they told me, they said, hey, make sure you get this out there on the podcast. The sideline gear for 2024, it's going to come out at the end of the month. And there's one piece of, memorabilia. It's stock that people have been asking me for relentlessly over the last few years. That's the mini helmets. On my desk here at Alouettes headquarters, I have a mini helmet with the old logo. So like the silver helmet with the angry bird and the football on it and the blue face mask. And people have been asking me like, hey, when can we get the new helmet in a mini helmet form? And so just telling you that will be available before the start of training camp. So keep it locked in on the Alouettes team store. You can find the link to the team store on the team website, montrealalouettes.com. But there's a lot of new sideline gear. The hoodies, I'm a hoodie guy. The hoodies look gorgeous. I saw them today. But that mini helmet is the one that people kept asking me about. When can I get the mini helmet? Well, you're going to be able to pick up the mini helmet soon. Not yet, but soon. In the next couple weeks. We'll tell you when it's ready. But I got to look at them today, and they look unbelievable. They look unbelievable. All right. It's now time to bring in our next guest. He's the defensive end from the Montreal Alouettes, Grey Cup champion. He's Avery Ellis, nice enough to join us. Avery, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really, really well. Thanks for doing this, taking the time. Why don't you tell us, where are you at? What are you doing this off season? What's life been like as a champ?
Oh yeah, life as a champ it's been wonderful, right? Still got that that winning residue on me. But so far this off season, I moved. I made a move to Atlanta, Georgia. So I've been in the South for a little bit, loving the weather. Haven't seen too much snow, so that's been good in itself. And outside of that, uh, still on my culinary path. Making food videos and doing my best with that, and a little bit of acting here and
Oh,
there outside of my football training, but that's been my off season.
okay. So before we get into the acting and the cooking, you just decide to pick up and you can also tell me it's none of my business, but you just decide to pick up and go and move from New Jersey, right, to Atlanta?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. So I have my girlfriend. She got a job here in Atlanta,
Oh,
and with
nice.
me, yeah. So with me being so mobile in Montreal for 6 months and in the States for other six, that I made the easy move. It was too much thought of, behind it, but yeah, that was the reason. So I guess I followed love.
That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that.
Not
Um,
at all.
what's the thing you miss most about the East Coast, though?
So I'm still on the East Coast. However,
Well, it's not
the
really East
Northeast,
Coast.
the Northeast is the bagels, man. You can't find bagels like anywhere else. Like Northeast bagels, just the best, in my opinion. I'm like a bagel fiend, and I can eat them any time of the day. So that's one thing I definitely miss the most.
Okay, so you've left the door wide open to me. Um, so when you say a Northeast bagel,
Mhm.
are we talking about a New York bagel since you're from that neck of the woods, or are we talking about a Montreal bagel?
Yeah, that's
Avery,
like
don't Avery.
I know, I
Very
know, I
careful
know.
with what you're about to say. If you like dough and chewiness, then yes, I guess you like the New York bagel. If you want something that's beautiful, light, taste,
Hey, well,
then Montreal bagel is the way to go.
I it's apples and oranges to me,
It's
simply
not.
put.
It's not.
Because
Sure.
I grew up eating the fluffy, doughy, succulent, buttery
Succulent.
New York style bagels, right?
Yeah.
And it has this nostalgic feel anytime I pick one of
Okay.
those things up, right? However, this is the
Fair.
apple oranges point. Going to Montreal and trying those, artistic bagels, those bagels that are aesthetically pleasing to the eye, right,
Yeah.
are also delicious.
Have you had
Uh,
St. Peter and Fairmount? Have you had both? Have you
I
had either?
have, I have had both,
Okay.
and they're delicious. They're good. I have no complaints.
Yeah. Have you had the New York pretzel from Fairmount?
I have not had the New York pretzel.
The New York pretzel from Fairmount might be better than the New York pretzel in New York. I'm just telling you.
Uh, That's interesting. I'm not a big pretzel eater.
Okay.
Um, However, I would love to take that challenge and see which one is better.
I'm happy to buy you a New York pretzel
Hey, I'm gonna hold
in
you to that.
Montreal.
Sounds good.
Okay, so walk me through your ideal bagel. Like, what does your ideal bagel look like? What's it topped with? Just give me your ideal bagel order.
All right, cool. All right, so there's two separate orders, but it will be essentially the same bagel. I am addicted to the French toast bagel with the powdered sugar on top. Now, if it's let's call it a light day, I will have the French toast bagel warm, not toasted, with strawberry cream cheese spread, not too thick, just enough so when you take a bite, you don't have that hunk of cream cheese sitting on the side of your face. And you need, out there looking for extra napkins. That's
Did you say warm, not toasted? Is that what you said?
that's exactly what
You're
I said.
such a diva. That's awesome.
You have to be specific. You have a finite time to say what your order is, and you got to get it in and get it out the line. Maybe long.
People
Um,
actually get that right. Like you go to places that actually get they it's not toasted, it's just warm.
it's warm, absolutely.
Really?
And see, in high school, I had a down pack where right before school, I would go when the bagel was like freshly made, so they're still warm. There's no need to throw them in the oven or microwave or however they did it. I would catch it while it was fresh, and there it was.
Okay.
Um, but my second order is a bit unconventional. It would be
Because the first one was really conventional, by the way.
oh, absolutely. You could find that anywhere around the
French toast bagel.
world. No, my second one is more of a sandwich, and it's a bacon, egg, and cheese
Sure.
um, on a French toast bagel with butter, right? So they spread it, and this I will have toasted.
Okay. French toast bagel. I don't think that I've ever come across a French toast bagel, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, it's the way they make it. I believe they add cinnamon, nutmeg. And they use the formula of an egg bagel to make it, and they top it with a brown sugar and powdered sugar. Right. I have a sweet tooth, and that's why I enjoy it.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, because like I think when people think of a French toast bagel, it's like a plain bagel dipped in French toast batter, right? But that's not
Right.
what it is. It's like all the ingredients are mixed before it's made.
And who makes the best French toast bagel out of curiosity?
Oh, so there's a place in Montclair, New Jersey called Hot Bagels Abroad. It's on Valley Road. It's been there for a long time. And the line on a Sunday, on a Saturday, shoot, a line after school is always out the door, right? But it moves fast. And I would say they have the best bagels, best French toast bagels.
Okay. For people who haven't figured it out, Avery is a huge foodie. I had the pleasure of trying Avery Ellis's cooking. I had a mac and cheese that changed my life. It affected who I was as a person. I think I'm a better person now than I was before having the mac and cheese. That's how good it was. So in the off season, you do spend time as a chef. People who paid attention, Alouettes fans, noticed on our social media pages this off season that we did a couple videos with you where you cooked a few things. There was the mac and cheese that I was there for. What
Yeah,
else did we do in the off season? That was late in
yeah,
the regular season though.
yeah. Mac and cheese was in the regular season. Off season was Super Bowl. I made 3 different styles of
That's
fried
right.
chicken. And
Yeah,
also Valentine's Day, I made a lava cake.
that's right.
Uh, so yeah, those are the things you
Yeah.
can find on social.
How'd you start cooking and how'd you get so good at it? Well, practice, I'd imagine, but how'd you start?
Yeah. The start was not voluntary. Growing up, family functions, I always got caught in the kitchen trying to sneak food, right? So you try to sneak a piece of cheese here, try to sneak something there, but then I realized the best way to sneak food was to help, right? So I was always the sous chef, which I hated because I'm sitting there chopping onions, having tears fall down my eyes, and hands are pruny, and I used to hate it. But the reward, I get to sneak food. And that was how I got started. And then I have family members who I would go to their homes, even my mother, and I could never get a hold of the remote control. And Food Network would be on all day, and I was forced to watch it. But through that forcing, I tend to, enjoyed it and started cooking on my own. And that's how it happened.
Um, if somebody came up to you, not going to mention any names, but someone walked up to you and said, I'd like to start cooking. I'm terrible. I don't know where to start. What's the first piece of advice or the first couple pieces of advice that you would give somebody who's looking to start? Maybe something simple that they can make. Like what would your advice be to somebody who says, look, I'm really a true rookie. I need your
Mhm.
help. What can you do? What do you recommend?
Wow. In today's time, because of how things are going, I would say TikTok. I would say jump on TikTok, jump on YouTube, find whatever your favorite dish is, whatever you love to eat, and you can eat that 3 times a week. Figure out how to make that, right? And then build upon that. So let's say your favorite dish is a spaghetti with the bolognese sauce, right? Learn how to perfect that bolognese sauce. Learn how to make pasta without it being overcooked, how to make it al dente, right? So learn that because you would have a passion behind that. You would enjoy it. You would make it often. At least you could say, all right, I could make this thing well. I could compete with someone making this. And then as your palate grows, of course, your recipe book will grow and you will learn how to make other things moving forward.
Did you say bolognese because I'm Italian? Is that the connection you made there?
At least you caught on to it.
Have you had a chance? Have you been cooking at all? Have you been working this off season? Like, have you done anything like that in Atlanta?
Not in Atlanta. Typically, I will host either supper clubs or brunch tastings in New Jersey. I haven't had the opportunity to do that in Atlanta yet. Still building my connections, but yeah, I've been doing other things this off season and just focusing on my content.
Before we get into, because I feel like I could do 10 podcasts with you and we probably wouldn't even talk about football until the ninth or 10th one. Because I think, and you listen, you can tell your teammates this, I don't care. I think you're the most cultured person in that locker room right now. And I
Um,
personally don't think it's close. Number two is not close to you. You mentioned it. You cook. You have a lot of travel experience as well. You've acted. Why don't we jump in before we jump into the football? You mentioned acting. Why don't you tell me what's going on acting wise?
yeah. So one I can disclose completely. The other I don't think I can yet.
Sure.
But yeah. So uh, how it started. I had a friend mate, a teammate who was a stunt double for this one film that I can't disclose yet, but it's about football, and he was doing like the stunt double thing. And
A
he
teammate in Montreal.
no. So back when I
Okay.
used to play other teams, and he had texted me. He said, "Hey man, we're looking for extra guys. You should come out and do it. You know, you get I think it was like a couple $100 for a couple hours." So I'm like, all right, it's an off day. I might as well do it. And the momentum built. They liked what they saw. And yeah, so I kept so far I'm playing the same role as someone teammate. So there's not much acting into it because I'm playing a football player. It is what I do. It is who I am. So I'm like, all right, I could just be myself, right? But that's how it started. And then I ended up getting an email for the show All American. And they was like, "Hey, we like what you did with the previous show. Are you willing to fly out to LA and shoot the episode?" I
Am
said, "All right,
I? No
yeah,
kidding.
I'm like, sure." And usually you hope for like a speaking line or something, right? You get some your name in the credits and you get some residuals from it. But unfortunately that did not happen. But I think I may get, a quick, screen time, face maybe panning across, something like that. But yeah, so I've been playing, the main character teammates, and yeah.
Really? Okay, so you have no lines yet.
Um, I have lines in the other one.
Okay.
It's like a docu series on a player.
Football. A football
Yeah,
docu series. Okay.
yeah. But yeah, short lines, nothing too crazy. Me more so just talking trash. And
You like it though? Is that something you can do? Is that something you can see yourself doing more?
it's different. It's different. I would like to say yes, but to be quite honest, I think it's very intimidating not having any experience in that field, in that area, and seeing people who've been, doing this for years and how they could turn it on and off so quickly. Like for example, I'm on set one day, and they always call it like the hurry up and wait, right? You get set and you get ready to go, but now you have to wait for everything to get set up. All right, cool. And you go from one emotion to the next because now you have to jump into character. And I'm watching the main character go from, silly, ha ha he he, to his face is just like bloodshot red. Like, how are you able to do that? How are you able to, capture that emotion so quickly? So that's the intimidating part, which I definitely believe I need a lot of practice for. But can I see myself doing it? Yes. But I think it's difficult.
You meet anybody famous? Like the most famous person you met? What?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, yeah, they're famous.
But I'm talking about, like big time name. You haven't crossed anybody like
Yeah, yeah.
big name, like
You
mainstream
know,
name.
yeah, no. I was looking for The Rock, but I don't think he's seen me. But it's all good.
I think he's intimidated by you.
Yeah, I doubt that. But hey, he might be.
All right, cool. So is there something, give me something on set or behind the scenes that most people don't know that you didn't know about acting or TV work or movie or whatever it is? Like, is there something that kind of jumped out at you outside of the story you kind of just told us? Like something small, something minute? Like, what's the one thing that kind of caught you off guard about acting that you had never considered when you're just watching something?
Um, that something that caught me off guard. That's a good question. There's a
About
few
time I asked a
things.
good question. It's been 3 years I've been on the job.
There's a couple things. One would be how detailed they are with clothing and setup, right? For example, one of the films took place in like the early 2010s, and they had me in these like old Nike cleats. I'm like, yo, these are making my feet hurt. Let me see if I could put my own cleats on and switch it out. And clearly they've seen it. It was like, hey, this is a continuity issue and you can't wear it. I'm like, all right, I get it. So, that, besides that, how many takes it take, how many times they will re-record something because of sound, or usually you can't speak. So if there's lines with the actor, and you would think that everyone's just chatting in the background, no, they take that sound and place it in. So there were scenes where I think I'm in like a party scene and I'm fake talking to people, fake drinking, right? Which I'm like, all right, cool. And then you may slip up and say a word while they're talking. Then next thing you know, you're there for another 4 hours trying to complete the same scene. So that's something that's interesting. The drinks that you see that you made think is champagne is typically ginger ale. So that was interesting. Gatorade really isn't Gatorade most of the time. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Gatorade?
And
What's Gatorade then?
it's colored water
Oh,
for one of them. Yeah, it was like, all right.
couldn't
I thought I
know
was
what
getting
they
high
were
grade.
a thing.
Not always. I
Okay.
mean, it's like if it's in the bottle and you could crack it, yeah. But sometimes it was like, oh, we have a Gatorade bottle and you see some blue stuff coming out. You think
Yeah.
it's the ice Gatorade, but it's not. And lastly, thing that surprised me the most was the amount of snacks that they had. Oh
Give me the
my God.
lineup. Give me the lineup of snacks that you've got. What's on there?
Oh, it depends, because before lunch you would have snack time. And during snack time you would have like a queso dip. You have unlimited, like, just chips, cookies, soda, juices, pastries, from brownies, croissants, macarons. Like, you would have all of it, but then you would have like small dish. Now this is a snack. It would be like chicken fried rice. I'm
Okay.
like, oh, for a snack, for sure, yeah, yeah. There we go. And then we had
So what are you going to play defensive tackle this year? Like, what's the plan? Did you do some damage in there or what?
yeah, yeah. So I found myself having to do extra conditioning before set. I swear,
At
like,
least you do it. I wouldn't do it.
I my impulse when it comes to like snacking is pretty low. However, I love to work out. I love to, I have to be in shape and to stay in shape to be the best I could be. So I always found myself before set, found a couple guys. We always will run together, make sure we did a little bit extra, knowing we're going to pack on some more calories. But yeah, even on set was one, we had this umbe, the purple sweet potato ice cream that was in a taco form with like
What?
fruity pebbles on top. I'm like, before lunch, and lunch is great at that, But yeah, I think that was one of the most things that caught me off guard on set.
That's incredible. Geez. Would you do reality TV? Like if they asked you for one of these, I don't know, Hot to Handle or one of these, maybe not Love is Blind because you're already in love, but like, could
Yeah,
you consider doing reality TV if they'd ask you?
it depends what it is. Like I think I would do a. I'm not sure would you consider this reality TV, but have you seen it's called like Physical 100 when they have like 100
Oh
people
yeah,
go through like a
on
test? I
that.
would do something like that, right? Or as far as like a Chopped, something that I feel like it's not too much drama. It's not very theatrical in that sense. So, but yeah.
So which one of your teammates you feel would fit in best on one of those reality shows that are filled with love and drama and all that stuff?
Oh,
Because I
love.
got a couple of names for you, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
Oh man, love it. I think Mustafa will be really good on one.
Really?
Yeah, he got the hang time going. He got the flow. I don't know if you ever like check him out, but he always like have like the cinematic view of him getting like the best pictures. I think he'll be awesome for TV. it's just like the way he's like a gentle giant in a way, but when he plays, he's ferocious,
Yeah.
he gets after it. But when you just talk to him, he's super chill. I think that's something that,
But I don't think he's all about
yeah.
the drama, though. Like, I agree with you, but I don't think he's. You think he can match the drama? Like, you think he can do like fall in love with two girls in the pods on Love Is Blind?
No, see, I don't think it would be that. I think more so he would be so honest, and the ladies will fall in love with him that it will cause drama. Not that he's bringing the drama, but just like you got them all coming towards him.
Fair. I was gonna say Sankey. I think Sankey could do some of that. Sankey has some of those vibes.
Yeah, I could definitely see. I could definitely see it. Once wintertime come and Sankey brings out his wintertime outfits, he's unmatched. You catch Sankey in a nice turtleneck, he can't be stopped. He can't be stopped.
All right, let's talk about real stuff for a second.
Yeah.
I thought, I've followed your game for a long time, but I thought that the best I've maybe ever seen you play was that playoff stretch. East semifinal, East final in particular. I thought you were pretty outstanding in that game, and the Grey Cup too. Um, do you feel like is that the best stretch of football you felt like you've played, or did you feel? I know you were pretty good in Ottawa too. You've been really good in Montreal, but I felt like you were on another level. That great, guys. I made the smooth segue from too hot to handle to your football career. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just curious how you felt about that month stretch in November.
Well, that month stretch was more so us as a team gelling at the right time. Not saying we weren't gelled before, but we became tighter. We started to hit things right on the nail. The timing was great, and I can't just say this is like my best stretch of ball because I don't think I would have been able to make those plays or do the things that I've done without my other teammates. And I think that's probably the most impressive thing, that how tight knit we were as a defense and how we came together to make plays collectively. So I think that definitely is something that contributes to my success on the field during that playoff stretch.
Sorry, the play I think that'll stand out to me when I think of you. The one play, and this is going to be my career highlight in 30 years from now when you're a big star and you have no more time for me, and people are going to ask me, they're going to say, "Hey,
No.
do you know Avery Ellis?" I say, "Yeah, that's the guy who stood up freaking AJ Willett in the East Final." And how tough is he to bring down? Because that was a great play. Was that a pass in the flat? I feel like that was it a pass in the flat? Was it a run in the flat? Or was it a toss? I don't
Yeah.
know right now.
It was a throw to the flat, and I
Yeah.
was responsible for the flat during that play.
But you got him
And
up high, like you tackled him up high, and that's usually not a good idea. But I mean, once you got him, I mean, he went absolutely nowhere, and he went nowhere fast.
oh yeah, it's mano y mano. And usually, as crazy as it sounds, I like to tackle big backs up high just to make a statement. And I think when you do that, you tackle a big back up high, you give your defense so much momentum, so much power. Like, oh, this guy could go down like that. Yeah, he could go down like that. And we all can do it. And then you start to celebrate with your team, then it brings momentum. And next thing you know, you have the whole defense firing off. Like if I would see someone like a Sean Lemon or even Dupac come down, he tackle somebody up high. Next thing you know, we all doing the same thing. Be giving body blows after body blows.
Yeah, and I thought, as a whole, defensively, that's crazy. And I hadn't really thought of it that way, but I remember the guys were fired up after that play. But to me, I've been watching sports for a long time. I watch a lot of hockey, a lot of football, a lot of basketball, whatever. I thought that was the single greatest defensive performance in pro sports, pro football that I've seen. I don't know how it felt being part of it, but you forced 9 turnovers. There was a dropped interception at the end that ended up being a turnover on downs. So, but to me, I thought that was the single greatest defensive performance I've watched. And we know how the CFL caters to offense. The rules is all about driving offense. But I'm just curious, when you guys are all locked in as a unit in that moment, can you appreciate in the moment how dominant you are? Or is that something that you see pop up on film or something you think about on your own?
Speaking for myself, and I truly believe that you don't realize it until after it's done
Sure.
because you're so focused, we're so present, we're so locked in that we just worry about making the next play. And it's very hard to think about what you did prior or what's coming up in the future when you're so present and locked in on how you're going to dominate this play in front of you. And looking back afterwards, like after we win and we in the locker room, you look over to your teammate next to you, like, yo, we really kicked their butt. We really did something out there. And you don't realize what the stats are until you maybe go check your phone or we bring it up in the meeting. You're like, oh snap, like. Yeah, we those guys. But when you're out there, you just think about making that play that's in front of you. And I think that's the best way to go about it because if you're able to do that, you're able to be consistent.
As someone who watched half the game in the press box and then half the game from field level, I fully expected I fully expected us to go in there and win. Like, I'm not going to say that I didn't, but I didn't expect that type of, I don't think anybody can expect that. Like, I don't even think you guys expected that type of performance, right? Like, you don't expect to go out there and force 9 turnovers.
Yeah,
Like, that's
nine.
not the way that works, right? But I was stunned. I was stunned by the level of dominance against a team that, yeah, they were 16-2, and maybe they were a little overhyped, but anyways, I was there and I was shocked. At one point, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like when Ento had the other pick six, I was like, this is crazy. Like if you bring this to a script in Hollywood, Avery, they turn around and they say, no, this is unrealistic.
No, they were like, this is the top seller. That's what they tell you. That's what we are. That's what we're going to continue to be. But yeah, 9 turnovers is something that is unheard of, right? Like, I don't think too many teams go out there every game like, all right, our goal is 9 turnovers, right?
Yeah.
Our goal is to dominate each play that we're out there. But if that means 9 turnovers, so be it, right? We're going to get it done. So, we always focus on us. And that was one thing that we harped on the entire season, that it really doesn't matter what they do. It really matters what we do.
Yeah.
And as long as we continue to execute, 9 turnovers will happen. And it happened.
When you prep for Chad Kelly, and I realize he's still in the league and you'll play against him in theory this year, and so you maybe can't tip your whole hand, but when you prep for Chad Kelly, like what are some of the things that you guys prep for leading into that game? Is there anything that you can share, or is it stuff that you rather keep close to the vest?
Well, it's not too much that I want to share, but I have to give a lot of credit to Coach Stork and what he draws up and what he lets us execute out there. I think he did a tremendous job, keeping him under wraps, and with us executing the plays that he drawn up for us. I think was just a cherry on top. On top of that, what we try to do as a defense is understand what you are best at, right? And understand your strengths and your weaknesses and trying to eliminate your strengths to the best of our ability. And knowing he has certain strengths and we was going to take those things away and even his secondary strengths and turn and make him capitalize off his weaknesses that he probably haven't done or we haven't seen.
But he looked frazzled though. Like I know in the moment maybe you didn't see it, but on the TV copy, I mean, it was plain as day. There was, I think, the pick where he's running to his left and he threw it back over the middle. And I think Sankey got down one. And, like, he's on the ground and he's looking around like, I have no clue what just happened or what's going on. Did you sense that he and they were rattled? Like, could you get that sense? Can you look a guy in the eye and say, oh, this guy's rattled?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially from watching film on a guy, right? And you know when a guy is in rhythm, especially a QB. He's hitting his targets on time. He's like throwing the ball off his step correctly. That's what you don't want as a defense. You do not want a guy that's in rhythm making his throws because that's a nightmare for us. So what we did is our best ability is get him off of his rhythm, get him a little frazzled. And we can tell now his cadence sounds a bit different. You could hear it a little tendency in his voice, not tendency, he looked shakiness in his voice.
You can hear that on the field.
It's more so a confidence thing, right? Usually QBs will have the same cadence, right? But usually, as a defensive lineman as well, your eye on the ball, and you may see the cadence, or hear the cadence, and you look at QB, and his eyes are going left to right, back to right to left. He was like, oh, he's a little shaky. He don't know what's out there.
Right.
And then you start to dial up things in your head like, all right, I know I got this. I could beat this guy with this move. It affects the game.
I have to write a preview article before training camp, and they're asking me to make certain predictions. I'm just curious, when they asked for Avery Ellis sack total this year, how many can I pencil you in for?
Oh, double digits.
Double digits.
Double digits.
Well, what does that mean? Like 19 or like 11, or what am I looking at?
Yeah, 12 plus.
12 plus. Over under 11 and a half. I'm taking the over.
Over. You better
Put a
take the
week
over.
pay on it. I'll put a week pay on it. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, yeah.
My
You put a
money?
week pay on it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like it.
We'll put a
Um,
week pay on it.
give me a funny Sean Lemon story I've never heard before.
Uh, a funny one. Um, I got one. So as a D line group, we always have a potluck the day of travel, right?
You get
And
invited to a lot of those, I bet, huh?
you have no idea, it goes right into the story. So I'm usually known for making potatoes, like home fries in a sense, like breakfast potatoes. And I think it was like a short week, and a part of me did not want to make these potatoes. I'm like, hey, I got film to prep for, trying to, recover properly. The time just isn't there because potatoes are like a whole thing. You got to make them like before, reheat them before you get there, make sure they stay warm. Like, this week I'm not trying to make the potatoes. And I wasn't going to make it. So I sent in the D-Line group chat, hey guys, I'm bringing yogurt. Sometimes and sure, he just texted me. Like, even like the day before, he was like, potatoes, potatoes. Like, he kept saying it, he kept saying it. He texted me to the point where like I just caved in. I was like, all right, all right, all right. I understand the guys love it. I'm gonna make it. So I really think he enjoyed it. But if it wasn't for him, I for sure wasn't going to make it. Like, he definitely had to take some convincing. So, funny story. I guess that's it. Like, he was consistent and persistent about me making those potatoes.
I like it. Did I see where, like, as if you didn't have enough going on? Did I see where you got a full scholarship for firefighter certification from the CFLPA? Did I see that right?
You did, you
So what's
did.
going on with that? You're a firefighter. You're gonna want to be a firefighter too now?
Yeah, well, I think that's something that's always been a childhood dream as well.
Really?
Yeah, there's something about being heroic in that sense. As a kid, you used to see like the big red truck go down the street. You see the guys; it looked so heroic and so much courage behind that. And I always feel like after football, what I'm going to do, cooking is something I do for fun and I enjoy. Would I love to make a career out of it? Of course, but something that would be meaningful to me after ball that would have the same resonance that ball has, I believe, is firefighting, and that's why I chose to do so. I'm so grateful to get the scholarship towards it, and yeah,
I'm curious, and maybe it has nothing to do with it, but as a guy who was, I mean, New Jersey, close to New York, did 9/11 have any impact on the way that you viewed firefighting? Like, did that have any impact on you whatsoever?
yeah. Well, it's a thing where in Montclair, New Jersey, it's called Eagle Rock, and you see all like the fallen names that happened from 9/11, right? And I remember maybe once every 2 weeks I would go there and I would see it, and like a lot of those names were former firefighters, right? Were firefighters who risked their lives during that day. Um, a direct impact, I would say yes, because seeing that and knowing that that's one of the ultimate sacrifices you can do to try to save people, trying to save your people in your country from a traumatic experience like that. So it definitely plays into it.
You're a good man. Like I said, I stand by what I said earlier. Most cultured, uh, not even, I'm not going to say player, I'm going to say person. So equipment staff, video guys, coaches, there's nobody more
Oh yeah,
cultured than Avery Ellis in that locker room in the basement of Olympic Stadium. Thank you for taking the time to join us. You're a very interesting dude. All the best going
no worries.
forward, and we'll look forward to seeing you in May.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate you.
Thanks again to Avery Ellis, nice enough to join us this week on the podcast. And I told you, he's a guy of many talents. And as I mentioned, we did some content where he made mac and cheese on camera for us last year. And the mac and cheese changed my life. And I'm not just saying that, it changed my life. I'm not selling anything. You can't buy Avery Ellis's mac and cheese. You probably could, but you can't officially buy it. And that was a macaroni and cheese that is maybe the greatest mac and cheese that I have ever seen, tasted. Oh, it was incredibly rich, but that was the greatest macaroni and cheese that I've ever tasted in my life. So, Avery Ellis, is a great football player. Was outstanding, like I said, down the stretch, and he's just been unbelievable for the Alouettes. But I think he might be an even greater chef than he is football player, and that's saying something. And I think he's a better dude than he is chef and football player, so that's saying something too. So thank you to Avery Ellis for joining us. Just wanted to make note of this. We'll have a French podcast on Thursday, but then I'm going to be off for a couple of weeks. Going to be taking a little bit of a break, getting away from the job, enjoying some family time over the next couple of weeks. So there won't be any new podcasts that are going to be up and running here for 2 weeks' time. But you will get a new podcast, a French one on Thursday. So yeah, just wanted to make sure that everybody was up to date on that. Folks, training camp is right around the corner. Can't wait to see the guys back in town. The games are coming fast. Make sure you have your tickets. Make sure you're there. Come see us in training camp in Saint Jerome. It's less than an hour away from Montreal. We're there weekend, weekdays, you name it. We're there for a good 3 weeks. So make sure that you come out, you come say hello to the players, you come talk football with me. It's going to be a great time, and plus it's very close, not far at all from downtown Montreal or just the Montreal, Montreal in general. So make sure you come out, make sure you get your Alouettes gear, and make sure you're there on opening day when the Montreal Alouettes take on the Ottawa Red Blacks at home on June the 20th. Have a great rest of your week, everybody, and we'll talk again real soon.